So I just watched the new Avatar movie like an hour ago, and it was pretty cool. It was pretty chill. Maybe it's just me because I watch a lot of anime movies, but this felt like one of those anime original movies where like, oh, the main characters find this new guy that's connected to something, and then they do something, and they go somewhere and they do a thing, and then they have big ball fight, and then by the end of the movie everything gets returned to the status quo because it's not canon. Now this movie can be canon because, well, I don't know, it doesn't really break anything that was in Korra. Spoilers, but the airbending staff gets broken. The dude, Taga, I think his name was, I already forgot. He's gone now. He turns into dust. So yeah. But this movie was, I like the animation. It was pretty cool. It was like kind of like, it reminded me of anime a bit. The power scaling was kind of whack. It was kind of out of whack. Like Katara, like parting the sea like Moses was kind of crazy. Aang bringing freaking water monster dude. Thinking from the end of book 1, and he's like a portal now. I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know you could hop through. I didn't know he was a portal. That's kind of out of whack. I didn't know he could do that. That's cool though. I guess it might be a plot hole. I'm not really sure. Kind of Deus Ex Machina, that Katara just so happened to like kind of fall into like super ocean magical water that revived her, and then she could revive everyone else. Like, cause she's a waterbender, so she could have done that. If that was literally anyone else, oh, it would be cooked because they can't waterbend. So it's like kind of shambles. I did kind of wish there was like major consequences for this movie, but that's fine, I guess. The writing was kind of weird. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I don't remember all of Avatar, but I swear the writing was more subtle in the show. This movie kind of is very like outspoken about like the themes and what people's going through and what they're saying. Like when Aang returns to Republic City and Katara says like, Appa, my best friend, I've missed you. Like, that's kind of weird. Why'd you need to like emphasize the my best friend part? Like, I'm pretty sure we already know that like Tara and Appa are chill. I don't know, it just seems kind of weird. And then Aang at the end talking about like forgiveness. Oh, I need to forgive myself too. That was kind of weird. It's kind of on the nose. I didn't like that. I prefer when a movie like respects me for being smart, even though I'm absolutely brain dead. I can at least understand what a movie's trying to convey without you having to tell me what the character's speaking. Like, that's the whole point of the movie. The visual storytelling is there for a reason. You kind of tell me, you show me, right? I don't need to be told this stuff. If the movie is about Aang like learning to forgive himself and to understand what kind of air nomad he is, and you know how he brought peace and stuff like that, and how he shouldn't blame himself for what's happening now and what happened in the past anymore, because he can't do anything about it. Well, you show me that. You don't tell me that. It's just kind of weird. I like that, you know, unlike a certain Netflix show, Aang actually flew this movie, not thanks to his own airbending, but thanks to someone else's. I really like that. You know, they showed how excited the others were when Aang was airbending, or when he was flying, because that's a thing he can't really do without his glider. And it's called a glider for a reason. He's kind of just using the air to propel him in the air, and he kind of glides, right? So he's not actually supposed to fly. I don't know how anyone got the idea he was supposed to fly just because he's an airbender. What, because he has a bike scooter or whatever? It takes him, no. To fly up, he uses fire bending to propel himself, and sometimes earth bending. But yeah, he can't fly with air. So I'm really happy that, you know, it's kind of like a highlight of the movie. Something like, oh, they're excited about. Glad Team Avatar, like, you know, were pretty cool. They actually got to do stuff. Even when they were fighting the dude and they were getting swept. Like, even Sokka was able to do something. He's like, they're fighting like Omega Airbender, like Kratos or whatever. Like buff dude. Genie in the Lamp Man. He looked like a genie by the end of the movie. It's kind of weird. I don't know why. I like that we got to see like Republic City in its kind of early stages. That was nice. You know, a little callback to like, you know, the end of Last Airbender and beginning of Legend Korra, right? I do like how most of the characters like remain faithful to who they were, you know? Like, they could have like matured or changed a bit, but they were still like them. I kind of wish they existed more. They didn't really feel like they were like characters. Like, they were kind of just there to like make the plot happen. Not really to make the plot happen even. How should I describe it? It's like the storm existed so the characters had an excuse to do something. That's what I'm trying to say. It didn't feel like the story didn't show to me why Aang fully needed the gang. Like, it was kind of just there to highlight the themes of how Aang needs his friends or whatever, and how he couldn't do this without them, right? But like story wise, it didn't really show like why. Like, they didn't get their big moment to shine, I guess is what I wanted. Cause like, I mean, I guess technically the movie is titled Avatar Aang, so yeah, it's about Aang. But I kind of wish, I got more of a showing of why Aang needed his friends, how they could do stuff without him, and how those things that they did were still a big part in what helped Aang win at the end of the day, right? Like, we look at the finale. Oh, Katara, Zuko took down Azula, so Aang didn't have to do squat. Sokka, Toph, and even Zuki. Where was Zuki, by the way? I don't even know where she was. We even saw Kyoshi warriors like eating, but not Zuki. That's kind of crazy. Anyways, those three were taking down airships. Also, Aang and they saved the Earth Kingdom. Also, Aang could focus on fighting Ozai, right? He didn't have to worry about Azula afterwards. He didn't have to worry about the Earth Kingdom and the ships. They really did something that kind of like heavily impacted the story. I like Taga. I feel like his backstory was kind of justified, cause like, yeah, like if the air nomads weren't chill and pacifists, they could have defended themselves. But at the same time, I like how it like kind of stays in line with the end of the series, where Aang didn't want to kill Ozai, not because he didn't deserve it, but because it kept alive the philosophy of the tribe that Ozai tried killing. He tried to wipe out the air nomads because, first of all, they had the Avatar. Second of all, their philosophy and how they lived their life, he considered them weak and he was strong. So to show an airbender who also thinks like that, who thinks the opposite of the way Aang does, is kind of like a good parallel and kind of like a slap in the face to Aang. Because they're people with the same bending, they had the same issue, a different nation with different powers trying to take out their people. But whereas Aang fought to preserve what it meant to be an air nomad, Taga is fighting to protect the physical embodiment of the air nomads. And I kind of like that. It's kind of like, it's kind of weird to mention, but it's kind of like Sasuke from Naruto. Instead of like now trying to fully preserve what the Uchiha clan is physically, he's trying to preserve it philosophically, I guess. Like, he's trying to embody what he thought the Uchiha were, with like the Uchiha police force and how they protect the village from the outside. That's basically kind of it. And yeah, I thought that was cool. Anyways, so yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on the movie. Probably have more, but it's a pretty dope movie. So yeah, peace out.